Welcome, and thank you for joining us to learn more about ReSound Live and Dot Squared by ReSound, two new product families, each available in 3 different technology levels, 6 new products, 1 new breakthrough sound. Why do we love movies in a movie theater? For many, it's the sound, a greater sense of awareness, the sense of being there. The exceptional sound quality found in a movie theater is possible due to 2 factors: the number and type of sophisticated speakers found in the theater, as well as the sophisticated microphone setup that captures and processes the sound as the movie is produced. One microphone is dedicated to capturing conversations in the movie, while other microphones all around the set capture the background environment. Both of these independently gathered inputs are blended together in an ideal manner to find the perfect balance between focus on the conversation and on the environmental sounds. Until now, hearing instruments only allowed for one input. If your patients wanted to hear conversations, they lost environmental sounds. If they wanted to hear environmental sounds, they sacrificed speech intelligibility. Hearing instruments treated all sounds as a single input and forced a trade-off. Surround sound by ReSound changes all of that by redefining how a hearing instrument sounds. Environmental sounds and speech signals are gathered as independent inputs. Surround sound processing then finds the perfect mix of each to provide the maximum rich, vibrant sound experience without loss of speech understanding. ReSound Live and Dot Squared by ReSound provide a greater sense of awareness, of being there. With their full, rich sound, ReSound Live and Dot Squared by ReSound deliver a surround sound experience that truly redefines how a hearing instrument sounds. Surround sound by ReSound enables us to deliver this richer, fuller, and more vibrant sound. Surround sound by ReSound is powered by 2 sophisticated algorithms: 17-band warp compression and ReSound's surround sound processor. As found in all ReSound products, the building block of the ReSound Live and Dot Squared by ReSound is warp sound processing. By mimicking the function of the human cochlea, warp processing creates a listening experience that not only sounds incredibly natural, but keeps up with the challenging and ever-changing listening environments of everyday life. New in ReSound Live and Dot Squared by ReSound is an extended bandwidth to 7,000 Hz. The extended bandwidth found in these products ensures your patients will experience the most natural sound quality available in a hearing instrument. Surround sound processing is accomplished by processing bass and treble sound streams separately, as the natural ear does, to deliver a richer and clearer sound quality. Low-frequency signals are processed in an omnidirectional pattern to capture environmental sounds which provide the richness and vibrancy of sound, while high-frequency signals are processed in a directional pattern to emphasize speech. The surround sound processor then blends these 2 inputs together to deliver the perfect balance between audibility and rich sound quality. Processing the low and high frequencies independently results in a fuller, richer sound quality your patients will notice. The spectrograph on the left represents a traditional directional system, while the spectrograph on the right represents surround sound by ReSound. Notice the absence of the low-frequency energy, represented by the color red, in the traditional directional graph. This represents the typical low-frequency roll-off found in a traditional directional system. With surround sound by ReSound, since low frequencies are processed in an omnidirectional pattern, low frequencies are maintained, and a full, rich sound quality is achieved even in a directional mode. The number of frequencies processed in an omnidirectional and directional pattern can be personalized by the hearing healthcare professional in the Aventa software. The ability to adjust the directional mix allows for further personalization of your patient's fittings. The blending point is the transition frequency between the low-frequency omnidirectional response and the high-frequency directional response. It is a specific frequency, for example, 1200 Hz. In the example of 1200 Hz, anything above 1200 Hz would be processed in a directional pattern, and everything below 1200 Hz would be processed in an omnidirectional pattern. A blending point is calculated and preset in the Aventa software based on each patient's hearing loss and the hearing instrument style. If you would like to further personalize the blending point, you can adjust the directional mix in the Aventa software. The blending point and the directional mix are inversely related. The lower your blending point, the higher your directional mix, meaning more frequencies processed in the directional pattern. The higher your blending point, the lower your directional mix, meaning fewer frequencies processed in the directional pattern. The directional mix is based on the individual's hearing loss. In the Aventa software, you have 4 options for directional mix: very low, low, medium, and high. A high directional mix means more frequencies are processed in a directional pattern. The more severe the hearing loss, the higher the directional mix will be set. With a high directional mix setting, more frequencies are processed in the directional mode in order to maximize high-frequency information important for speech perception. Conversely, a low directional mix means more frequencies are processed in an omnidirectional pattern. This setting is ideal for those with minimal hearing loss in the low frequencies and for those with open fittings. With a low directional mix setting, more frequencies are processed in the omnidirectional mode in order to decrease perceived circuit noise. Here is a graphical representation of the relationship between the blending point and the directional mix. As the blending point is lowered in frequency, the number of frequencies processed in the directional pattern increases. The initial blending point is calculated by the Aventa software based on 2 variables: the hearing instrument style and the individual's hearing loss. In hearing instruments, as the microphones are placed closer together, the potential for audible microphone noise increases. In order to decrease audible noise, a lower directional mix will be selected for custom instruments. Individuals with good low-frequency hearing have a higher risk of hearing microphone noise. Therefore, a lower directional mix is selected. This setting also more closely mimics the natural open-ear directional response, providing a more natural-sounding signal for those patients with low-frequency thresholds in the normal to mild region. Now that you understand the blending point and directional mix, you may be asking yourself, when should I change the directional mix setting? There are 2 situations when you may consider changing the directional mix in the software. For example, if a patient complains of difficulty understanding conversation in noisy surroundings, the directional mix can be increased. Increasing the directional mix decreases the blending point frequency, and thus provides more frequencies being processed in a directional pattern in order to maximize high-frequency information important for speech perception. If a patient states that the hearing instrument is too noisy in quiet situations, or desires more listening comfort, consider decreasing the directional mix. Decreasing the directional mix increases the blending point frequency, allowing for more frequencies to be processed in an omnidirectional pattern in order to decrease circuit noise.